4 out of the last 5 occasions, has been accurate in its basic thrust in predicting either a hung parliament or a majority government.
Pretty good point.
And 62. So we got a hung parliament. The Tories had to join forces with the DUP to form a government. This time, they'll be hoping to win back some of the seats they lost in 2017. So let's see how things looked after the last election.
If I was too weak, I shall aspire, Dermot, to be strong insistently. But of course, you are in the chair and you are calling me to order rather than the other way around.
Indeed.
I never remember that.
Indeed. I'm not sure I'll be able to match that, but it could be useful with some of the politicians we're going to have on the programme during the course of the evening. I'll just set you on them. Tell me, though, I mean, watching that, you genuinely are an international phenomenon. There were students there from Belgium, people from all over the world, some of them thinking you might have been the Prime Minister. Were you aware of that while you were in the House?
I became aware of it only very late in the day. It wasn't planned, it wasn't contrived, it was no part of my mission to become known throughout Europe or indeed, for that matter, beyond. For much of the time, you're almost hermetically sealed from the outside world when you are chairing debates for many, many, many hours uninterrupted. So if you ask me, did I give a thought to that, the answer is no. I suppose what brought it home to me was my family, and in particular my children.
Did they take the mickey out of you?
Who were very familiar with all this, saying to me, "Oh, it's very funny, Dad. Have you seen the mashup?" And I said, "I beg your pardon, what is the mashup of which you speak?" I'd never heard of a mashup. And then there was reference to memes that were audible and could be viewed on YouTube.
They get out their phones and show you it, do they?
Yes, absolutely. And of course, they're streets ahead of me in all of these matters. So I eventually became aware, and I must confess that at one point, much earlier this year, I went to Amsterdam to do a late-night television programme, and I was completely taken aback by two things. First, I arrived at the airport and about 10 people came up who had arrived on other flights in pursuit of selfies. And then as we went out of the airport, there was a little crowd of waiting taxi drivers expecting business. And one of them saw me and called out, "Order, order."
And you put him right there,
and I was completely taken aback.
Just very quickly, John, I mean, much more to discuss during the course of the evening. Not too much politics, though, of course, before 10 o'clock and the polls closing. You know, what are you going to do now? You're out of politics. What is it? A book, one imagines? Some public speaking, things like that?
Well, my first challenge, Dermot, and it's quite a serious and heavy one, is to overcome my natural shyness, reticence and self-effacement.
Indeed.
If I can accomplish that task, which I will go about with some commitment and vigour, you're pretty much on the right track. I've written a book, I'm doing a lot of public speaking, and I suppose if I tried to encapsulate it in a nutshell, I want to earn a living, have some fun and do some good. OK,
I can see we're in for quite a night. The shy retiring John Bercow there, much more from him, of course, coming up. Well, let's get back now to the constituencies. We visited the seats of the leaders of the Conservative and Labour parties, as you know. The Lib Dems are next, and my colleague Neil Patterson is going to be tracking Joe Swinson this evening. What's the mood there, Neil?
Well, evening, Dermot, and perhaps the